Today I am going to work on possibly the smallest jointed swim bait I've seen. I'm going to give it a go. We'll see how it works, but let me focus on it for you. But we're going to try to make this about under an inch and one joint, cut it right through the middle. So first thing I'm going to work with is dremeling the side areas down just to try to get to the actual edges of the bait, and then we're going to give that a shot. So let's see what it looks like. So use the Dremel to cut this rough edge. I'm going to sand this portion down for a little bit and then try to clean it up, and then we're going to cut the joint almost immediately, and I'll work with each piece a little bit individually. But here's what it looks like thus far. Let me focus in on it. So rough, very rough, but we're going to clean it up. Right. Shape is coming along pretty good. I'm actually really happy with it thus far. So I'm just going to keep sanding for a while, and then I will catch you back when I start to cut the joint. Now that we got it sanded down to a shape that I like, pretty sweet, small. I'm not sure if I'll do fins or if I'll even carve scales. It looks pretty cool, smooth, and at the same time just the shape itself, but we'll see. Next thing is we're going to just worry about getting the joint separated and cutting this basically into two pieces now. Then I'm going to just kind of work with it from there. So we're going to do our best with that, just try to keep it, there we go, it's in focus. Keep it going. Alright, there's what we got. This is, we're going to have to put some weight into this tail, a lot of it somehow, just to keep it to move, and then keep that front side down. So I'm going to sand some pieces of this off just to clean it up, and then we'll get back to you. So initially I thought I could do, and I was going to do two small trebles, maybe kind of a feather hair tail or a like horsehair tail. But now I'm thinking I'll go most of the weight in the front and go with one larger treble rather than two small, but we'll see. But first thing I'm going to do is, since I got this kind of matched up, we're going to go with the smallest bit I have in my Dremel, which is 1/32 of an inch. And we're going to just cut kind of some pilot holes for the joint hardware. And after that, I'll make a decision on what I'm going to do down here, other than the fact that I'm going to have to drill a lead hole. That's kind of high priority after the joint portion. So I'm just going to find a couple spots here that I think will be ideal for the joint and the direction, and then we are going to drill these holes. Okay, these two are good. Matched up pretty good. Now I'll work with the little wire hardware, then I'll work with these, and then I'll be back. So my idea for this particular portion, let me focus in on you, is I'm going to, as you can kind of see, just use this is some very thin wire. In all actuality, it's a paper clip. So I'm using the wires of a paper clip to mold and finesse into this. And so I'm going to do that as the joint, and then use a pin to pin that in, or pin both of the joints in. And so it'll look just like that. So this I actually need, depending on the pilot hole I drilled, which is pretty shallow, so just got to figure out how much I'm going to need to trim off in order to better sit that in there. Right, we got both the screws in. It's still very rigid, so what I'm going to need to do is go in and kind of clean out some of the areas that's in these cavities, just so it can be a lot more forgiving and smoother. But I'm going to do that, and then I will probably clean up some of the top. Oop. Okay, before I get into actually putting this stuff together, I'm not much of a carver, but I think I'm going to try to carve a gill plate out. Maybe a fin, but I will clean that portion up too. But we're going to try that, and if it sucks, it is what it is. Not terrible. Not terrible at all, but I'm gonna try fin and then clean up the rest. So we'll catch you when I'm on that next step. Got some carving done, but what I'm gonna do next is just drill out the hole for the lead, just so we can weigh this bait down. But that's the next step. All right, the front half is gonna look like this. We'll get some lead in there. That's where the hook hanger will, the hook hanger will go down here. The line tie will be right there. So we're gonna fill this up, and then I'll go with the hook hanger after that. Probably angle in down here, and see what happens. All right, a lot of the holes and everything are drilled. Now it's going to be a process of filling everything and doing it in the right order too. So I do need to secure both of these pieces, the joints in. I will secure the hook hanger, and then I'm going to have to add lead to the bottom of that area too. So won't be as much talking as there will be just working, but we'll throw it in a speed loop and you'll see most of that stuff here shortly. And inserted the pin back here. I'm just gonna use a little baking soda and super glue to seal that hole and basically take a bit of a break. All right, so we're back on what would be day 2. I decided to take a break yesterday because it was the 4th of July, and wanted to go get some dinner and I guess blow some fireworks up and enjoy the festivities. So we're back at this. Last few things that I've done, I'm just going to put the camera down and kind of zoom in so you can see. The finishing touches on most of the wood, so it's completely sealed. I've got that tail in and pinned in, and it's got a decent amount of movement, not a ton, but enough I think it'll work. And then the hook hanger hardware as well as the line tie hardware. So we're just going to get to painting. We're going to fly through that, make it a bluegill pattern, and then last thing I'll do is I decided to go with a plastic tail, or a soft plastic tail, and so I'm going to use this old dual swim bait here, or this twister tail, split tail, and kind of show you how I'll fasten that in there, and I'm just going to cut it up, make it into a tail. So we're going to go into a quick bluegill pattern, and then we'll come back at you and go through the tail, and let's get it to the lake after that. moss green on the top just to make it all nice and even and look nice and shaded and all that good stuff. So almost done. Cool little bluegill, nice and quick. I'm gonna paint the eyes on instead. I'll probably just do that quick like, and then we're gonna clear coat it, and then I'll catch you after the clear coat when we work with the tail. But put the eyes on, or I'll paint the eyes on quick. You can see that, and we'll go on to the next step. Use the KBS clear coat. We're going to clear coat this, and then I'll put that rubber tail on, and we'll catch you at that point in the process. It'll be a while since my clear coating process isn't as fast as others with the Illuma Light UV. I need to get in the habit of that, but so far this is what we're looking at. Pretty cool. Good little, well, hopefully it'll twitch a little bit. It's going to float for the most part, actually. It'll probably be a topwater twitch. Maybe a little bit of sink, but we'll test it out when we can. We will see you then. Alright, got it glued in. Isn't perfect, but it's a start. It's pretty cool little bait. Just gonna fasten a treble to that, hit it with a split ring, and then we're gonna see what it looks like out in the water. So we will head to a local lake here and see if we can get into a fish or two and see exactly what this thing has to offer. At a local lake, and we're gonna test out the very first maiden voyage of this two-piece jointed swim jerkbait bait. Who knows? We'll see if it works. At a little local lake, but it's got a pretty good little twitch action and a nice sink rate. It'll fall about a foot every second and a half. Good little shine, and then if I just were to do a straight retrieve, got a little wobble. It's nice and tight. I wish I would, if I had a little bit more, I'll say the tail section was a little open. It'd have a little bit more of a kick, but we're gonna toss it around and see if we can get into anything, and we'll see. All right, we're at spot number 2. First one, it's just so dang hot out. And fishing from shore, you know, a lot of this water temperature is so hot, and especially the heat of the day, which it is right now in the afternoon, that most of these fish are just moving out and trying to find shadows in the grass lines or in the shade, and there's not much of that right now. So I'm gonna pitch towards this and see if we can get into anything. Otherwise, I might throw a 10-inch worm a little bit further out and deeper and see if I can get something from there. But we'll continue to test, and hopefully I can get something before this day is done. Well, we'll film the outro in the truck because it is about 1,000 degrees outside. Let's see here, if I was give or take a couple degrees, but let me see how close I was. So currently it says that it is 900 degrees. Yeah, I think my app's a little broken. There's a 0 missing, but it's 900 degrees out here, just south of 1,000. But as with every lure I've made thus far, there's some things I think I would tweak already. I did like the action though. It was pretty cool. It's either you got to figure out with this one if you wanted it to be a jerk bait or a twitch bait or a glide bait where it would stop, pause, and then shimmy. Was not heavy enough to be a complete slow retrieve where it would just shimmy and kick. It would rise pretty quick, but that could be something pretty beneficial depending on the scenario and the situation. But overall, I learned a little bit. Thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully you found some of this useful in your own lure making or painting. But thanks again. Next time we'll try something new. Hopefully we'll get some better results or some results in general. But thank you. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.